We welcome you into Pioneer Basketball with Coach J.T. Burton. It's been a little while, so we're going to go back. We're going to talk about some big wins for this Pioneer basketball team. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Stayton. He's Coach Burton, a Pioneer basketball team that has been pausing activities because of COVID. And I think maybe that's where we start right now, because you built some huge momentum, and it's frustrating because you guys have always done a really good job in keeping people away and doing stuff, but it just shows how infectious really this is, and it's got us, and now we've had to stop. And how frustrating is that, just to have to stop the activities because of what you were able to do?
It's pretty frustrating, but it's the norm. I mean, it's become the new norm. I knew it was going to get us. I mean, I told the guys, I mean, we've been very fortunate enough the last 2 years to not get hit. We got hit the first July of that summer, and then after that, we never had a pause because of us. But I mean, it's part of it, and I told the guys it's the norm, the new norm, and we have to continue to push forward. And I think we'll be okay. I mean, it's once we get back to regular activities.
All right, so before this all hit, the Pioneers take on a Carson Newman team. We travel down to Holt Fieldhouse. Probably a lot there. You know, it's interesting. We haven't played a regular season game at Holt Fieldhouse against Carson Newman. It's been like 2 years. We've been there. We just haven't necessarily played them. Either way, a Pioneer team that loses to Carson Newman in the South Atlantic Conference tournament last year, get some revenge in the NCAA tournament, and then open up with them to start conference play all the way back in November, and got a very tight game there. So there was a lot going into this game, so much build-up, and the atmosphere was so incredible. Both student bodies came out to the contest, and it started from the opening tip, and boy, they got off to a really good start.
Yeah, I mean, we try to set the tone early. We threw a lob to Jacob Hobbs, if you remember, but I knew the environment was going to be a little different. The gym is small. It's great. Small college atmosphere, and I knew they was going to have all the students there. But like you said, we hadn't played in almost a year and a half. So some of these guys that's been here for a year, they had never experienced anything like that. We could talk about it until you start actually playing the game. And boy, when that ball was tipped up, they let us know that the student body was going to be involved, and they was ready to go.
You know, and really the lob, it was converted. Hobbs throws it down. You're talking about somebody like James West, who has been here, been a huge part, has never played a game there, at Holt Fieldhouse. So we're talking about those kinds of guys that, haven't even been there to see that. KJ Crump, I felt like he handled it very well. It's a beautiful lob pass, to Hobbs. He throws down the dunk, and we go crazy, and then they didn't miss a shot, seemed like, for the next 5 minutes.
It was the E.J. Bush show,
yeah.
And that's what it was, because, I mean, those guys, they do a really good job of playing to their strengths. And, we try to take them away and limit some of those strengths they have. But E.J. Bush, up until the end of the game, we'll talk about that, but he was unstoppable. The first half, he was 7 for 7. He didn't miss a shot. They did a really good job defensively on us. They forced us to make some take some bad shots, and then we missed some open shots that we normally take. And they did a really good job especially that first half.
I really felt like you did a good job the final 5 minutes of the first half, and really it was they were opening it up, and felt like, well, we got to do something, and you were able to respond, and you were able to get just a little bit of momentum, even though they start the second half and regain some of that. But I felt like that pivotal 3 minutes there right before the end of the first half was key in just allowing you to stay in the game at that point.
Yeah, we got down, I think, by 14 or 15 points, and that last 3 minutes, I thought we did a pretty good job of just settling in. We made a couple of shots. Trent, I think, hit a 3 during that time, and then we got the ball down on the inside, because that's what we have to do, is go play inside out. And I thought we made some plays defensively. There was words that we got some stops, and that was huge. And going into the halftime, I knew that we was right back in the game.
They cut it 36-28 right there at the half. But then Carson Newman starts that second half. A little bit of adjustment on E.J. Bush, but with some other shots that started falling for them. Again, Carson Newman playing without Rendire. He was injured, and that was a big miss for them. But it just seemed like everybody else was able to pick up his pieces and do some of that. Trip Davis got hot. You got Brennigan that got hot. All of a sudden, the game's 50-35, and I'm thinking, we've got to find something. We've got to be able to get something done here, and that was shutting down E.J. Bush. And I think that was a huge difference in that second half. After he did get off to that great start, did finish with 16 points. We only had one field goal in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he started off 7 for 7, and then the second half we went in. I mean, we practice those scenarios. We call it the 15-point game where you're down 15 or 12 or 6, and the guys do not like it because, I mean, they're very competitive, and a lot of times, the starters don't win that game. But what being there in that type of environment and being able to settle in, especially on the defensive end, was huge for us because we changed up our defenses as well. We would change up, we would go from man to zone, and I think it kind of bothered them, and we was able to get some shots in transition as well.
Pioneers would go on a little bit of a 9-2 run. Trenton Gibson was part of that. You had some outside shots that were falling. Felt like Justin Mitchell was big, especially into the second half. He'd been a first-half guy. All of a sudden, he becomes really big in that second half for us, and we start this comeback. Really, what was key? Because you really did shut them down. Was it just the switch of what you were doing with your defense? Because I thought it was the most effective zone I've seen with you guys this year. But what was the key into kind of just building your way back into the game?
Number one, we try to get 3 stops in a row as a gap. And I think we end up coming out. When they went down, we went down 15. I think we got 2 of those 6 stops in a row. And when you do that, we was able to get some baskets on the other end. But going from man to zone, that helped us out. And what we done is the guys did a really good job of switching. The guys did a really good job of making them take contested 2s and 3s, and we kept them off the boards. That was huge. We kept them off the boards, and then we executed on the offensive end as well.
Pioneer team that would get some other type heroes. We'll kind of flash forward right here basically to the end of the game. It wasn't pretty. Let me just say, we didn't execute brilliantly down the stretch, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Trenton, despite his 1,500th point in that contest as he moves into the top 10 in scoring in the game, kind of struggled. They really hampered him. It wasn't his best game all around with 8 turnovers, something like that. And 2 of them were in the final minute of the game, which I felt was the most incredible. One of the greatest ball handlers for us was turning the ball over, giving them a fast break done.
Yeah, especially at the end when they got the turnover and they dumped it on the other end. I thought we did a pretty good job of staying poised, though. I mean, because I told the guys, you can't expect a whistle on the road. I mean, we can't put this in the referee's hands. We don't do that. And I thought we did a really good job. We made a turnover. Then we come back down. I think Jalen hit a 3 in the corner. So, we did a really good job of staying poised, especially on the road, because when he stole that ball and got the dunk, the crowd went crazy. And our whole side was behind us, and they went silent. So, but then Jalen comes down, hit a corner 3, because Justin Mitchell drove it baseline, drew it through the hammer pass. And we executed well, and I thought we did a pretty good job. They put us down by 1.
So, and then they come back, and they were able to make 1 of 2 at the free throw line, which was interesting. We turn it over. We get it back, able to get the basketball back. I felt like Will Vetter down the stretch was huge for us. He makes a big bucket. And Brandon Mitchell, we don't talk enough probably about what he did. And I saw it. I noticed it. Brandon shrugged you off a couple of times. It's like, no, I'm fine. Just leave me in. And I just don't see that much from Brandon.
Well, we had a conversation about that. I told him, that day in the shooting around, I said, look, B, if you get tired, if I think you're tired, and I tell you to come in if you're okay, just let me know. And as you said, if you was watching the game, I told him, are you ready? He was like, no, leave me in. And, sometimes Brandon's presence alone on the defensive end changes the game for us because, he may not be scoring, but which he has been this year. But when he is giving us both, we're a totally different team. But that game, he did a really good job on the defensive end.
So Vetter's left with about a minute and a half to come. I'll go back just a little bit. Made it a 1-point game. Then we go through all the situations. Jalen, he hits a couple of threes. You're going to hear about that second one coming up. But that made it another, 1-point game. They do make a free throw. We kind of come down. You don't take the timeout. I think you already knew what you wanted, out of certain sets and out of certain things. So here in the final 12, 13 seconds of the contest, Trenton has it in his hand, and you run a play. And Jalen, it wasn't easy. I mean, he squared the shoulders, and it looked good right when it went, but it was a 25, 26-foot three-pointer.
Yeah, when we had a player get hurt on their side, and so we was going through some exchanges trying to get the rule right. I had pulled them over to the side, which was Jalen and Trent, and I said, we're going to run a play, which we haven't called for it. And I said, we're going to go for the win. I said, if he makes both of these, we're going to tie it up. If he misses one, we're going for the win regardless. And I told him we were going to run, and they executed. The ball went in. I mean, we run it a lot. We work on it a lot. It was kind of like going back to the LR game where we try to throw it in and it went over our head, which is what a play we call Valpo try to work on. Didn't work.
Right.
were fortunate enough on the road that day. It worked, and it made all of us look good. So, yeah, I mean, we came down and ran it, and both guys, Trent did a really good job of drawing both guys to him and kicking it back to Jalen, and he made the shot.
Jalen's game winner with 3 seconds it comes, and really it reminded me a lot of the Queens game, or the yeah, I think it was them, yeah, or
Was the LR game?
the LR game. Remind me a
Yes.
lot of that so long ago,
Yes.
where we rally, we get back into it. They hit the 3 with 3.8, and then you got Trenton who's taken a near, just on the other side, half-court shot that rins out. I actually thought that was going in. I thought Brennigan's 3 was going in.
Yes.
I mean, it hits just the side of the rim. It goes up into the air, and I thought that thing's coming right back down into it. It didn't, and man, the atmosphere, as loud as it was, you get a 1-point win. We didn't. I said it. We stole this one from Carson Newman, but we also hunkered down and played some really good defense and forced them into some really bad shots late in the shot clock situation.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got their own opinion on what we done, but in my opinion, I thought the guys played really well. I mean, we settled down, and it was late in the game, but we clawed our way in because we was down. I think it was 5 minutes 36 seconds left to go. It was down by 11. I think it's what it was.
Yeah.
And at one time in the second half, it was down by 15. And you got to be able to win a game like that in a rivalry game on the road. You got to have some resiliency about you. You got to have some grit about you. And I thought that's what our guys done. We did a really good job of settling in and making shots. And everybody chipped in too. I mean, but the crowd, the atmosphere was incredible because we have people sending out Snapchats and the student body all across social media platforms, which is really good because you got to see it from their perspective. And watching it, it was incredible. It brought back the rival for sure, and we was fortunate enough to be on the winning end of that. But when I first came here, Brian, I told you, I said it's going to be a rival. We got to get it back, and I think we did that.
Brandon Mitchell with 12 points. Justin Mitchell had 10 points in that contest. You had 2 big threes from Jalen Crowder. And Trenton, who hadn't scored the basketball very well, was held to 3 points against the LR Bears. Got back into his scoring ways. Needed him to handle it just a little bit better, and some of that pressure. They really came after him a lot. Did turn the basketball over. But the Pioneers get the win. That's 3 straight wins now against Carson Newman, and it ended a 10-game home winning streak for the Carson Newman Eagles as well. We turn our attention to the Newberry Wolves. We go down. They're coming off a huge win against Wingate. Middle of the week, Jason Taylor's bunch might be one of the most athletic, and they will run at you a lot in this game. And they have a couple of really good players. We ran into Neesmith against Lenore Ryan, who was a kind of a mismatch issue for us, and a guy that could score. You have some of the same stuff with what Newberry likes to do. And we go down there, and the last time we were there, we got off to such a great start shooting the basketball, which is against the norm. We kind of had some of that as well. What a great start, especially from three-point territory, and picking the right shot. Our shot selection in the first half against Newberry, I felt, was the key for the whole game.
Yeah, it was huge because coming in, the game plan was the point guard, take him out of the game. And I thought KJ Crump did an unbelievable job of not letting him get his hands on the ball as much. And then we only shot 8 threes. It was 5 for 8 for the first half. And that means we stuck with the game plan going inside out. But if we could do that and limit our 3-point shots, because we're not a volume shooting 3-point team.
Right.
And our Achilles heel, I think, is going on the inside, playing inside out. And I thought we did a really good job of following the game plan.
Ford and Brown, their 2 top scorers. Again, they're very balanced, about 13.8, 13.2 between those two. Relegated non-effective, and that's what Coach is talking about. KJ Crump comes in and kind of takes Ford out of his game. Brown didn't have his game because Justin Mitchell can kind of take him out of that game. And it got to the point we kind of forced Coach Taylor's hand a little bit. He's like, all right, who do I go to? Because somebody has got to score. Strimlow, I think, tried to keep him into it just a bit earlier, but it just didn't work. I just felt like defensively you took that out of everything he was trying to do. He threw the kitchen sink at you, and everybody that you put on somebody was able to respond.
Yeah, we did a really good job. We always got a saying. Our saying is win your ones, and we won our ones, especially on the road. I mean, we held them to 19 points the first half.
Yeah.
And if you can hold a team to 19 points on the road the first half, that says a lot. And I thought we did a really good job, as I said earlier, is coming in and sticking to the game plan and executing on the offensive end and making shots. I mean, I thought Anadi Legis did a really good job of coming in and playing well, scoring the ball. Brandon Mitchell, our post players, Will Vetter. So, Josh, Josh Scott came in and gave us some good
Yes.
minutes. And so, having that depth kind of helped us. And defense on the defensive ends, where was that?
Again, shot selection, I felt like it was key. 55%. The Pioneers shot 55%. This is a good Newberry team. Defensively, they're a very good team, and they don't make things very easy. But I felt like the ball movement was very good. Trenton goes for 20, kind of gets back into that norm, of doing what he's doing, and didn't really force a lot of stuff. And man, he looked. It was one of his. It was one of his best games. It wasn't as flashy, but it was one of his best games.
Yeah, he was kind of coming, like I told him, everybody has bad games. Everybody hits a wall. And I thought Trent did a really good job of staying the course, And I told him, I was like, that's just part of it. You just got to stay away from the social media, stay away from everybody, because when you're doing well, everybody, family and friends, everybody's happy. But when you're doing bad, everybody's got something to say about it. And that's just part of being the superstars, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a really good job. And another kid I thought he did a good job of getting the ball was James West. James West made a couple of threes and kind of got his rhythm back during that game. So, that's a testament to Trent, because he made a conscious effort to get him the ball, especially in transition.
Yeah, their threes came in and kind of gave them a little spark and kind of gave them some life. We built a really big lead, but then West finishes with 11 points in the game. He hit a couple of big threes there. Anadi was 6 for 6 from the floor. Justin Mitchell finishing with 13. Gibson finishing with 13. So the Pioneers have won 9 of 11, shoot 55% in the game, win at 73-55, and that's 8-2 on the road. That's 8 road wins. That's the most in the NCAA era on the road for a Pioneer team. And it just shows you, I think, how you guys embrace being on the road, too.
Oh, yeah. On the road, to me, that's half the battle. It's hard enough to win a basketball game, okay, one at home. But if you can go on the road and try to win some games, that is huge. And I think our guys this year have really locked in on, on the task at hand when they go on the road. There's no distractions. They go in and they follow the game plan. And we've been very fortunate enough to win a lot of those games in a row.
25th career 20-point game for Trenton Gibson, again over that 1,500 mark, which puts him in the top 10 in scoring in school history. And then all of a sudden the COVID hits and we have to pause some things. You got a stretch of your schedule where you felt like we can kind of take advantage of this, and we weren't necessarily able to do. Thankfully, those teams are really going to work with us, so we're going to have the opportunity to play a lot of games coming up here. And before we even talk about the next game, that's 6 games in 9 days. That's a lot of basketball coming up for this team.
You know what? I think we'll build for it. I mean, we're going to see. We have no choice. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Brian, like I told the guys, I mean, Trenton Gibson was going through, a little ups and downs. We get a week, some time off. That's helped. You know what I mean? I think that's helped them. We had a couple guys with some injuries this week off. I think it's kind of helped them. Being around them, talking to them, I think it's kind of giving them a refreshed vibe. Everything's happened for a reason. We're not going to say that, this is going to hurt us, nothing like that. No, 6 games in 9 days, because if you're going to win a national championship or win this conference tournament even, you're going to have to play a lot of games in a short amount of days. So this is going to prepare us, and we have no choice, and I think we'll be ready to go.
You don't want to go through it, but maybe when it's all said and done, a blessing in disguise for this team, which the first of these challenges coming out of this is a team that's nationally ranked. It's probably not the first team you want to face, but it's Lincoln Memorial. They're going to do us a favor and place on Thursday. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off time. So Jordan Guest just named as the Player of the Week in the South Atlantic Conference. We got him. Last time it was here, you got Alex Dalling with a huge defensive play at the end of the game, denying Trenton Gibson an opportunity to be a hero, if you will. And, this is Tusculum LMU. These are the games you live for.
Yes, I mean, you got to go on the road. We're 8-2. We're tough. We've proven that we can win on the road. But you're going into an environment, a team that's hot right now. Maybe go look at their conference, the last 2 or 3 conference games. They scored 100 points in the last 2 games. These people can put up points. I mean, they've won 44 or 45 straight home games, haven't lost. But, hey, we just got to go in there. We got to put the game plan together, and hopefully we can come out and win. I mean, I know we're going to compete. I know that.
Hey, best of luck.
Thank you, man.
So LMU Thursday, Saturday, home to Coker. We'll travel to Limestone on a Monday. Then we'll play a midweek Wednesday game against UVA Wise, have a Thursday game, have Saturday. We're going to have a lot of fun here down the stretch for this for sure. I embellish the amount of games in there somewhat. At Pioneers, again, Thursday night, 7 o'clock from Harrogate, Tennessee, at the Tex. You can listen on the Pioneer Sports Network. We'll begin our coverage at 6:45. We'll tip it off at 7. You can watch it through the Lincoln Memorial University website as well. For Pioneer coach J.T. Burton, good to see him and everyone behind the scenes. For Dom and for Jim, I'm Brian Stayton. Until next time, go Pioneers.